Welcome to Library Line, your connection to the Conneaut community. I'm Kathy Pape, Executive Director of the library and your host for Library Line. Well, it's almost Thanksgiving. Can you believe it? It just seems like just a few short weeks ago we were running around at the beach filming all kinds of fun stuff, and it was 90 degrees and everybody was complaining about how hot it was. And now here we are getting ready to go into the winter months. I don't know if I'm ready for it, I'll be honest with you. It's a little too much to ask, let me tell you. But, you know, we just finished up with the leaves changing colors, and now we're raking them all up and, you know, getting ready for winter. And, you know, I gotta tell you, it's that time of year where you just start reflecting on things. And, you know, there are a lot of things to be thankful for. Sometimes you lose sight of that. I know I do. I've had some major, horrible things happen, and, you know, you just think, oh my gosh, you know, it's one thing after another. But you know what, all in all, you really have to take time to count your blessings. And I know that I am very thankful for a wonderful job here at the Conneaut Public Library and all my library family that I work with. And you know us, we have a great time working together. And, you know, it is something to be thankful for, that's for sure. So, you know, lots of stuff going on here at the library as usual. And we wanted to focus today's show on getting back to the basics, a nice traditional library line, and talking about things that we're thankful for and kind of getting ready to go into this new season coming up of all the snow and everything else. But a couple of things that we have going on here at the library that I have to take a few moments to talk about is, you know, every year everyone's like, hey, what's the theme going to be at the library this year for decorating, you know, because we go all out here, as I'm sure you're well aware. And we've done different themes in the past as far as decorating the library for the holidays. And this year we decided that we are going to do gingerbread houses. So we are so super excited about that. We're going to theme the library in gingerbread, and we're going to have a couple of really big promotions that are going to be coming out here shortly, something that we're doing with our elementary schools and with the general public. And I promise you'll get all of that information on today's show. But what I wanted to tell you is that we are accepting donations for graham crackers. And I know that sounds kind of weird, like gingerbread graham crackers. Work with us here. We've got a master plan, let me tell you. So if you are out shopping and you see a box of graham crackers, you know, it can be any variety, don't spend $1 million, but if you could pick up a box and donate those to the library, just stop in, drop it off at the circ desk, because I don't know if I should tell you. If I do, then you'll be in on a little secret, but maybe I should, I don't know. Don't tell anybody I told you. We are going to build a big gingerbread house in the entry of the library, like huge, huge. I went to Disney a few years ago, and if anybody's ever gone to the Grand Floridian Hotel, they do this big gingerbread house, and the whole place smells awesome. And I said, I want to do that here because, you know, this is the way we think, right? So we're going to build this humongous gingerbread house. The kids are going to love it. It's going to be like a big doll house. So we are asking for graham crackers. Can you help us out and be part of this really cool special thing that we're doing here? And then you can say, hey, I helped build that. So, and you know, Miss Steph, she's got the plans already drawn, and it's going to be spectacular. So we do need your boxes of graham crackers, and we're going to have contests and prizes for our local schools and our classrooms here to get involved with that. And the library is going to smell awesome too. So you're going to want to stop in and see everything once we get it all decorated. But again, today's show is about getting into that holiday spirit, going forward here as we move through Thanksgiving and into, dare I say, Christmas. I don't know if I'm ready for that. But, you know, one of the things that I know that I'm very thankful for is, you know, I have a great love of reading, obviously. And, you know, it's a gift that you can give to someone else. And one of the things that I had an opportunity to do recently was to ride along with the county bookmobile. And, you know, I got to tell you, I've been working in libraries for many years now, and I had never been on the bookmobile. And I always wondered, you know, where do they go? how useful is it really? When you think about it and you see it, who's utilizing that? And I was invited to actually drive along with the bookmobile while they traveled out to Monroe. And we visited 2 Amish schools and a couple of private farms that day. And I have to tell you, it was such an eye-opening experience. And I thought I wanted to share this with our viewers at home for Library Line, because the bookmobile does a tremendous service by bringing books to our Amish community and people that just can't get to the library but have and want to give that gift to their children of that love of reading and that gift of literacy. So I want to take you along for our Spotlight on the Community and travel out to Geneva, Ohio, where the bookmobile is kept at the Geneva Public Library. And we're going to talk with Gary and Pam, the drivers and the facilitators of the bookmobile. And I really think you're going to enjoy that segment. I know we had a lot of fun getting on board and talking with them about that. We also have our special kids corner with Steph and Pam. We have Cat at the Movies, and of course, Weird and Wacky Conneaut History with Vicki Barker. But up first, as always, is Here's How with Cindy Prather.
Hi, I'm Cindy, and today on Here's How, I'd like to share with you an idea I saw on a website called Pinterest. Now, Pinterest is a website where people get online and they share all sorts of really unique ideas. What this is a cake, and it's decorated with chocolate trees. Now, I just used a Duncan Hines cake mix, and I also saw on Pinterest a variation for cake mixes that you can make them taste a little more old-fashioned. Instead of following the recipe on the box, you add 3 large eggs, half a cup of melted butter, and you have to use butter, not margarine, and 1 cup of water. And this makes your cake have a little more dense and old-fashioned flavor to it. So what this is decorated with is the chocolate trees, and I put a little bit of coconut on top. So to show you how to make the chocolate trees, what you'll need is a piece of just white paper and a piece of clear plastic cellophane. And what I did was I just drew on the paper sort of like a template of the kind of trees I want. Some of them I wanted bigger and some of them smaller. So what you'll do, you put your template there and you put your cellophane on top of it. I took just a plain Hershey bar and I cut it up into little pieces. I put it into a Wilton cake decorating bag. I put it in the microwave for about 30 seconds, just enough to melt the chocolate. Then you take and you just snip the end off. And what you'll do is take and force your chocolate out through the bottom of the bag onto the clear cellophane, onto your template that you drew. And you'll just gently squeeze the chocolate out. And there's the base, the trunk of your tree. And then you'll start at the top and just form your branches. And there's really you don't have to follow your template that you drew on there. It just is kind of like a guide on the size of your tree that you want. All right, there you go. So when you're done putting your chocolate on there, you'll just put it in the refrigerator to harden up. And then after, maybe 10 minutes, this is what you'll get. They're hard, and they'll just peel right off of the cellophane. And there you have your chocolate tree to decorate your cake with. And you just stick them right to the side after you frost it. So there you go. A great idea for the holidays. See you next time on Here's How.
And now it's time for Spotlight on the Community. We're here at the Geneva Public Library, and I'm talking with Gary and Pam, the drivers of the bookmobile. Hi, guys.
Hello.
We are so excited to be here. And, I met these guys a couple of weeks ago. I was invited to go along on a ride along on the bookmobile. We were in Monroe that day. And thank you very much for inviting me along. That was really fun. But I've got to tell everybody at home kind of roundabout way of why we're here today, because I always thought to myself, well, what the heck does the Bookmobile do? And I'm a librarian, and I just had never been on the Bookmobile. I was unaware of all of the services that it had and who actually used it. And that was part of the reason why I really wanted to go along and ride along on the Bookmobile. And after that day, my eyes were open to just the tremendous service that you are doing with the Bookmobile, and it's commendable, and that's why I really wanted to introduce you guys to our community out in Conneaut, and you can explain a little bit about what you guys do. So, Pam, Monroe. Yes, where do you guys go in Monroe?
We go to the Amish schools in Monroe. We go to some of the Amish households and people that cannot get to a library. We go to them, and we are very well received with the Amish school kids, as you saw.
Yeah, we went to 2 different schools, and what were the names of the schools again?
Hague School on Middle Road, I believe, and Rabbit Country School on Adams.
On Adams, okay. And we pull up, and number one, and I know I told Gary this, we pull up, and I didn't even know we were at the school, and it's this building that you would probably pass, and there's no lights on, obviously, You would never know that all of these children are inside. So we pull up, and all of these kids came running out, just could not wait to get on the Bookmobile, and I almost felt like crying. Like I told you, it was just a tremendous feeling to go, oh my gosh, wow, this is what we do for a living. This is why we're here. And tell me, these kids were coming out, Gary, and I said, wow, they don't have any shoes on.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and one of the things is within the Amish communities is the Bookmobile is exceedingly important to both the citizens in the schools. With these children in the schools, they have very few books other than what the Bookmobile brings. So at that particular school, they do run out. However, you notice it's very orderly. They come in, they choose their books, there's never any horseplay, very little conversation. We will check out at that school between probably 200 and 300 books every stop, and we go there once a month. They come on, they do not wear shoes. The Bookmobile was designed for that kind of heavy traffic. In the winter, of course, they'll have shoes on, and they track in because the schoolyards are not paved and all mud. We'll have a half-inch of mud on the floor, but these are things that both Pam and I have no problem with at all. We understand the service we're delivering and how important it is to all the Amish out there and all the other people we do out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And the different ages that came out, and from the littlest ones up to the older ones, and how they all it was like all these kids get on the bus and then kind of like spread out their separate ways, and we're going to go out there and take a look at that. But pulling books out, and I've never seen this inside a library, but they'll look and look, do I want this? No, put it back, and just really go through a lot of the material and take great care in picking out which ones that they want. And all of the children picked, it was probably 6 to 9 books on average that each child was checking out, and just a variety of different materials. It was amazing to watch. And they're very quiet, but there's a lot of conversation going on with each other, and a lot of sharing, and some were reading books right then and there, and then they didn't choose to take that one out, and then they kept going. But and it's fun to watch. It's just a really neat process, and to know that it is doing such a great service right out there in Monroe. It's how many kids at each school do you think?
I think that it does vary. Schools do increase. Probably at the first school, the Hague School, between 40 and 50. And probably at the second school, Rabbit Country, which is not as well attended this year, probably 30 to 40. And the thing with the Bookmobile and this service delivery is both Pam and I really do get here in the morning happy to be here and happy to do our job, because what kind of job is it that you could have that everywhere you go people are really happy to see you? It's a very nice texture job. That's why we really don't mind the roads, the conditions, the the winter conditions, people are happy to see us.
Yeah, that is really, really neat. And you've built a relationship with these the community, the Amish community out there, and that's really important because obviously without that trust and without them knowing you guys and that service, that's not something that anybody can just really waltz in and do.
Correct.
It does take a lot of give and take, and you are well versed in that culture now, I think, and you've probably learned a few things, right?
Very interesting people, definitely.
Yeah, and the one thing that I noticed too is that the children will intently look at you and completely engage in your gaze, and it's, I don't know if they're just so much infatuated with a different culture, or that they're just calmer and there's not that sense of getting on to that next thing, and that the attention span is maybe a little longer. I don't know,
Well, and realize with these children, particularly the younger ones, we may be the only non-Amish that they see in months, or maybe some of them for years, because they do not go shopping, they do not go to the stores with the parents. So, and what Pam and I didn't realize, and most of them probably still do, the perception among the Amish is Pam and I are married. And when it comes to light, for example, they'll bring us gifts at Christmas or cookies or something, and they'll say, I'm the man, and this is the wife. They'll say, this is for the man and his wife.
Oh,
And when we
That's what
say
they
we're not
understand in their
married, it's
culture.
a shocking thing.
wow.
It's very shocking.
Okay, well,
to
you just
them.
have to keep up appearances now, okay? You like your job, you gotta just, take one for the team sometime. But, honestly, you guys must get along really, really great because, and like I said, we're gonna go out and take a look at the bookmobile, but it's close working quarters. And, anybody that kind of works with their family, their work family, you probably spend more time with them than you do with your, regular at-home family. But with you guys, I think it's a unique case. I mean, how many hours do you guys work together a week?
Well, 33.
33.
Yeah.
And how long have you been working together?
5 years.
Okay.
And you've been 6 years?
Yeah, I started with another partner to begin with, but that is correct. And Pam and I, in some ways, I think it is as delicate as being married. But don't think we don't spat.
Well, it's just like being married then, right?
And it's never over an important issue. Do we want to stock this or that, or do we want to change this around? It's over. You didn't put the steps down yesterday.
Little things that
Little
we get
things.
over really quickly.
Yeah.
You have to
Yeah.
work in that space. So.
And well, the other thing too, and like I said, I really wanted to highlight the fact that, the bookmobile does, come out to the Conneaut area, and the wonderful job that they do serving those Amish schools. We also stopped at a few of what we would consider a homebound delivery, families that homeschool, that live out in Monroe, that rely on the bookmobile and are used to the bookmobile stopping right in their driveway. I mean, what kind of service is that? It's fabulous. And the whole family came out and chose books. And that's something that I know, Pam, you said that the bookmobile had been doing for years.
Yes.
Yeah, wow, it's wonderful. That's wonderful.
Yes. We've been on the road for 54 years.
Yes.
Not us. Right.
We've been there less.
No. But the service has been around for over 50 years.
Wow, wow. And I know that all throughout the county, the bookmobile goes to Ashtabula elementary schools, correct?
Correct.
And some of the other different housing developments that are in Ashtabula.
Yes, we do.
Then you go to the far reaches of the county as far as, going out to the Amish schools and some of these other homeschooling places. Senior citizen.
Daycares,
Daycares.
preschools,
The little ones with the story times and crafts.
projects, art
Yes.
projects, so.
It's
Deliver
wonderful.
full service.
It's a full service library on wheels. So what do you say we go take a look at it?
All right.
All right, let's go. All right, now we're outside beautiful Geneva, Ohio. You kept the bookmobile inside the garage, but we pulled it out. We're gonna go in and take a look. What do you say? Okay, here it is, the inside of the bookmobile. Can you imagine how many children get in at one time?
Ooh, probably about 20, 30 sometimes, but it's very crowded.
It
when
is
they
very
do that.
crowded. When I was on the bookmobile, I mean, like I said, they kind of all come on, and then everybody's everywhere. When you're looking, you have children up here on this ledge, and even some down here, and on both sides of the aisle. So, tell us a little bit about what you carry on the bookmobile.
Well, we carry everything from children's books to adult books and movies, and we have our nonfiction up here for children, adult nonfiction, and we even have a Spanish-speaking book section.
Okay.
We have chapter books we do see a lot more kids than we do adults, so we have a lot of focus on chapter books, and we've got early readers and picture books down here.
So do the children that are used to coming on the bookmobile once a month, they know their section, right?
Oh,
They know those are my easy readers. That's where, okay.
Yeah, we
So
keep them in the same spot. But they're not in any order because they could never stay in any order.
well, I wondered that when I saw kids like taking them off and putting them back on, like, wow. So, what about these totes? I see there are several bins that are sitting around. What do you guys typically put in these bins?
Well, we have a bin full of animals, and we have one of what we call creepy crawlers and dinosaurs. We have a tub of sports books too.
Okay.
The high interest popular things that are easy just to go to and select what they want.
Okay.
And we also do have inspirationals for adults.
Well, and I have to say that your inspirational fiction or Christian fiction too, as sometimes they are cataloged, that was a hot item going out when I was writing with you guys. I thought that was a genre that, even like the Amish Christian fiction, that is something like the English people liked.
Right.
But a lot of the Amish are checking them out. I was surprised to see that.
And whatever we don't have in this section, we can always get for them so that they will have that when we come back.
So
in
it's a
4
full
weeks.
service library too. I mean, you can request material and have that, you would have that on here for them. So if it could be a teacher that's requesting special, or any of the families that are working on something. Okay, that's very good to know.
Yes.
Wow. And movies too, so that's interesting.
Yes.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow, very good, very good. And all the way up here, this is really interesting too. This is your checkout. You have 2 checkouts here in the
We do.
library.
One back there.
One back there
And one up front.
and one up front. And that seat kind of swivels around and it
does.
doubles as your driver's seat and your checkout
And
circ desk. Wow. You know what? Tell us, do you have to have a CDL to drive the bookmobile?
Not this particular bookmobile, but in the past you had to have one.
Okay. Now, why don't you need one for this bus?
Well, it's a shorter bus. We do not carry passengers. We do not have air brakes, and our wheels are not that high. That's
Okay.
kind of what I was told. Gary has a CDL. I do not, so I am able to still drive the bookmobile.
Well, Pam, I got to tell you, when we pulled up to that first Amish school in Monroe, and like I said, I didn't even know there was a school there. We pulled into the woods, through this little narrow, muddy path, and the bookmobile pulled up in there, and I'm like, holy cow. And you backed that out. Didn't you back that out? That was
I don't like that one.
I was thinking, like,
like
how
that.
are they going to do
Pretty
that?
tight.
It is pretty tight, and then, right back onto the road. And some of the places you get in are very precarious, I think, as far as maneuvering the bookmobile.
Certainly.
Well, if you took a close inspection around the bookmobile, you'd see many instances where we didn't make it.
Things and yeah.
Well, it's painted beautifully. I really like that. Who did all the painting on the bookmobile?
It was a person from the company that built the bookmobile.
Oh, but it's customized to Ashtabula County.
Well, it is. It very much. That was the 2 requirements that seemed to be important to the board and to staff when it was built. I was not here when it was built. I came on when it was first delivered to us. Is it needed a hydraulic lift so that we could do handicapped people and walkers and that. And the second was the mural.
It's beautiful.
When we do school presentations, we very much use that as a contest. Walk everybody around and say, now how many covered bridges are on there? Or
Oh, that's
how
cool.
many schools, or what vehicles were on there, because there is also an Amish buggy on here in the mural. I mean, is a good depiction of Ashtabula County.
You know, and speaking of Ashtabula County, you know, you two probably do have the best job in the world. I thought I did, but I might be, there might be a winner here. But, you know, you guys actually get to see the diversity of Ashtabula County in a way that I don't think people typically get to see. You know, you see every single walk of life. You see every single community. I think you really do have your finger on the pulse of Ashtabula County, and you know its needs and you know its beauty. You know, what are some of the things that stand out in your mind when you think of Ashtabula County and some of the places that you've seen?
I'll start. One of the things is with this job, and when I applied for it, you know, I really thought I would like this job, though I had nothing to do with libraries, hadn't worked in a library. There were, I think, 130 resumes submitted for this job.
Wow.
Because people looked at it and said just what you said.
Wow.
What a great job.
Yeah.
What got me in was no skill, no intelligence, my CDL.
Oh.
They needed somebody to train the other drivers.
Oh.
So I got in that way, and
But it was obviously a good fit for you.
well, I knew when I read the description, I thought it would be.
Mm-hmm.
And what we see in the county, as you say, is all year round, the changing of the seasons. We go to rural spots that are very beautiful, and we also get a taste for the people in the various communities. People in Ashtabula County are, by and large, great people, friendly. We got stuck, several years ago at an Amish school. And, you know, slid
I can
into
see
the
that.
ditch.
Yeah.
And the
Snowy,
tow
yeah.
bill would be enormous. The neighbors got together, called another neighbor, and another one had 2 trucks put together with chains. And this was a very cold day, and pulled us out.
Oh, wow.
And I said, thank you, and can we, you know, send you some checks? And the community said, thank you for what you do for us.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
it was a great
wonderful.
time.
You know, and that's really what it's all about. You're doing a great service for Ashtabula County, and you know what? As a librarian, I have to hand it to you guys. This is a really super cool thing you're doing, and I see the need there. I hope everyone out there understands the importance of the Bookmobile. And when you see the Bookmobile traveling around, certainly the Conneaut area and Monroe, give it a little toot toot. People give you the toot toot and a little bit of wave?
Yes.
All right, so that's your job, Conneaut, a toot toot and a wave to Gary and Pam in the Bookmobile. Thanks, guys.
All right,
Thank you.
Hi, it's Vicki with Conneaut's Wild and Wacky History. I'm here today again in the archival room, one of my favorite places in the library, where I discovered a story about a brave child back in the 1800s. Callista Miles arrived here in the Monroe area about 1835 with her family. Mom and a couple of the other children were left with some friends in a place called Scrivener's, and Dad went on with the 2 oldest children, Callista being one of them. She was only 12 at the time. They went on to start a cabin in the area. Dad got the walls up and part of a roof, but it wasn't finished yet. But he started out one day in search of the goods, which I kind of figure might be he went off hunting. And Callista was left to take care of the cabin, and she does the cooking and the cleaning there. Well, nightfall came, and Dad still hadn't come back. So she lit a torch and set out to look to see if she could find Dad. Well, she couldn't find Dad, so she retreated to the cabin and was afraid because of the wolves. She could hear them howling in the distance. So she climbed up on one of the boards across the roof, but not feeling too secure, she managed to nudge it back in under the roof a little bit. And so when Dad got home a little while later, he found Callista sound asleep with her head hanging off the board, hugging that board for all it was worth. Now, Callista is one ingenious child, which even goes to show you next summer when she was taking care of a sick aunt who she had to travel 2 miles each way to take care of. On the way back that one evening, she discovered that wolves were following her. Now, she knew if she tried to run, she'd never make it. So she turned, screamed at the wolves, and threw the washboard at them, and they took off in one direction and she took off in the other. Now, aren't you thankful that you don't live back in the 1800s and you had to put up with wolves in the area like this fellow? All right, I'll see you next time for Wild and Wacky Conneaut History.
Hello and welcome to Library Line's Kathy at the Movies. Dark Shadows is another movie made through the collaboration of director Tim Burton and actor Johnny Depp. It is one in a long line of movies given the Burton treatment, such as Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Alice in Wonderland, and Sweeney Todd. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the Dark Shadows soap opera, it was on after school from 1966 to 1971. And remember, this is the time before Jacob and Edward and Bella and all things Twilight. I, for one, ran home after school every day with hordes of others anxious to watch the latest escapades of the residents of Collinwood, namely the Collins family, and most especially Barnabas Collins. Jonathan Frid, who played Barnabas Collins the vampire, died just a couple weeks before Tim Burton's movie hit the big screen. Now, I am aware of the critics' reviews of this movie. Most thought it was pure drivel. Many thought that perhaps Burton and Depp are so far removed from real movie making that they cannot recognize when they are making crap. Well, I'll admit this movie is no Oscar nominee, but in its defense, I never believed it was intended to be one. It is confused from the very beginning, never committing to being a great Gothic remake of the soap, or simply campy kitsch. The movie begins promisingly enough, Depp's voice underscoring the story of his past, and somewhere about halfway through the movie, I began to wish that we could have stayed in that gloomy, scary past and never had to watch Barnabas Collins clumsily navigate 1972. But I am mainly speaking to all of those of us who did wait anxiously to watch the newest episode of Dark Shadows, who were secretly in love with Barnabas and wanted him to bite our necks in the dark. Scoffing at our classmates who ran home to watch As the World Turns, as we were watching through closed fingers, vampires, werewolves, and witches. Oh my. The half-hour soap ran for over 1,200 episodes, so eat our heart out, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It survived miscues, stuck doors, objects falling off of shelves, flubbed lines, all being taped with handheld cameras, still keeping a loyal fan base who not only tuned into the telly every day, but flocked to the theater every time a Dark Shadows movie came out. Campy, you bet. If I sound somewhat defensive, I'll admit that I rented the original Dark Shadows soap opera on DVD a few weeks ago, and I went home and I was so excited and I plugged the first DVD in and sat watching and thinking, how did I ever watch this stuff? But there are reasons to watch the movie. Helena Bonham Carter, she does a bang-up job as Dr. Julia Hoffman. And the main storyline stays pretty true to the plot of the original soap opera, although they talk about the daily business a lot more than the soap opera did. Alice Cooper gives us one of the best movie moments when he does a concert at the mansion. And the whole soundtrack, except perhaps for a Carpenter song, is pretty terrific. A side note, Johnny Lee Miller plays Roger Collins in the movie, and he also plays Sherlock on the new show Elementary. And the screenplay was written by the author of Abraham Lincoln Vampire Slayer, Seth Graham Smith, and that movie or book was also made into movie, which I did not see. Campy, kitschy, sure. Fun to look at, you bet. The Collinwood Mansion is a work of art. Silly, absolutely. It's no Ed Wood or Sleepy Hollow. It's not for everyone. In fact, I think it's mostly for people who just want to watch a movie for the fun of watching the movie. And it's also for all of us teenagers who gathered around the water fountains in the school halls talking everything Collinwood. So if you're in for a fun ride, go ahead and watch Dark Shadows. Don't expect much and you'll enjoy the movie. Thanks.
Hi, welcome to Kids Corners. We're sitting right across from the saltwater aquarium we have here at the library. And if you didn't know, we lost one of our seahorses, Stormy, this summer. And we've gotten 2 new seahorses. So if you haven't been into the library to see them, we have Sparky, who is our new little male, and Stardust is our little female. And they came, I believe it was July 11th. So Coral is still in the tank, and she's really acclimated well to her new tank mate. So if you haven't been in to see him, stop in. That's the first thing on our agenda. But now I'm going to let Miss Pam tell you about some way that we can help the community and you can help us help the community.
It's Thanksgiving time, and the New Leaf Church is going to have a free dinner on November the 22nd from 12 to 2, and they're asking for a plea of pies. You can call or stop in the library and sign up to make a pie or more than one pie, and they can be delivered over to the New Leaf Church anytime the week of the dinner. A little thing to do to help out our community.
And even though it is just the beginning of November, we here are thinking of Christmas already and the holiday season. And every year we kind of go a little bit crazy. We create a whole beautiful world here for the community to enjoy. This year we've decided to go gingerbread. Everything is going to be centered around gingerbread. And with that in mind, we have high expectations and dreams of making a life-size, almost life-size, gingerbread house. We're going to construct it out of cardboard, but we don't want to just leave it cardboard, so this is where we need the community to help us. We would like to glue graham crackers all the way around and everywhere on that life-size gingerbread house. So you can help us by bringing in a box of graham crackers. Now, if this is almost life-size, you can imagine how many graham crackers that's going to take. So we need the whole community to get involved in this. We need all the kids at school, we need their parents, we need everybody to bring in boxes of graham crackers so we can create this very awesome life-size gingerbread house. The deadline for acceptance of the boxes of crackers will be Friday, November 23rd, because that is when we start decking the halls here at the library. So please bring in a box of graham crackers and help us realize our dream of a life-size gingerbread house. And also, with that in mind, this gingerbread Christmas, we always have a contest. And this year, we're having a gingerbread contest. And it's going to help to add to the atmosphere here, as well as add to the smell here. If you guys want to help us add to the smell and the atmosphere, then you can create a gingerbread something. It can be a house, it can be a tree, it can be a gingerbread man, a gingerbread woman, whatever. We're telling you to let your imagination go wild and enter this contest. This year we have two categories, first time ever. We have a child and an adult category, and the first place winner in each of those categories will be chosen by popular vote, and we will be giving out quite a marvelous prize of $50 and a library gift basket to first place in adult and first place in the child category. The deadline for bringing your entries in is Friday, November 30th at 6 p.m. When you fill out the paper, the entry paper, there are some rules on there, but the biggest rule to remember is it cannot be any wider than 12 inches. It can be as long as you like, whatever this something is, this gingerbread something, but it cannot be wider than 12 inches or it will not fit on top of our stacks where we display. So if you create your gingerbread contest entry prior to coming in and picking up your form, that's what you need to remember. No wider than 12 inches, the base. Long as you like, though. So we hope you help us deck our halls and enter our gingerbread contest. Pam has one more thing.
Speaking of November 30th, Friday, we're going to have another after school. It's called Feathered Friends, and it's going to be from 4:30 to 5:30 here at the library. It's going to be all about the birds. We are going to have a tweet tails. We're going to create a tweet craft, and it's just going to be
very tweety.
Very tweety, yeah. It's something that all the birds in your neighborhood will love. So sign up or stop in to join us that day.
And I think that's about it for what's happening in the youth department at the Conneaut Public Library and also, I guess, the adult department. So see you at
next
the library.
time. Yep.
Hi, welcome to Book Teasers. Well, every once in a while, a book comes across my desk that makes a huge impact on me. And this book, Each Kindness by Jacqueline Woodson and illustrated by E.B. Lewis, is one of those books. It's a picture book, and picture books are traditionally thought preschool through grade 3. but that's traditionally. This book has a lesson for everybody. And I think probably we've all experienced something like this. I'm going to share a little bit of it with you. Each kindness. Maybe I can, maybe I can't if I hold it here. That winter, snow fell on everything, turning the world a brilliant white. One morning, as we settled into our seats, the classroom door opened and the principal came in. She had a girl with her and she said to us, "This is Maya." Maya looked down at the floor. I think I heard her whisper, "Hello." We all stared at her. Her coat was open and the clothes beneath it looked old and ragged. Her shoes were spring shoes, not meant for the snow. A strap on one of them had broken. Our teacher, Mrs. Albertson, said, "Say good morning to our new student." But most of us were silent. The only empty seat was next to me, and that's where our teacher put Maya. And on that first day, Maya turned to me and smiled. But I didn't smile back. I moved my chair, myself, and my books a little farther away from her. When she looked my way, I turned to the window and stared out at the snow. And every day after that, when Maya came into the classroom, I looked and didn't smile back. And so it continues throughout the book, where her and her friends, no matter how hard Maya tries to befriend them, they won't befriend her. And then one day, the teacher did something in class that impacted the main character of our story and changed her life forever. Mrs. Albertson had brought a big bowl into the class and filled it with water. We all gathered around her desk and watched her drop a small stone into it. Tiny waves rippled out away from the stone. "This is what kindness does," Mrs. Albert said. "Each little thing we do goes out like a ripple into the world." Then Mrs. Albert let each of us drop the stone in as we told her what kind things we had done. Joseph had held the door for his grandmother. Kendra helped change her baby brother's diaper. Even mean old Andrew had done something. "I carried teacher's books up the stairs," he said. And Mrs. Albert said it was true. I stood there holding Mrs. Albert's rock in my hand, silent. "Every small thing counts," Mrs. Albert said gently. But I couldn't think of anything and passed the stone on. And most of our preschool stories have a happy ending. This story ends with the little girl losing her chance to share that kindness with a stranger. And it makes her think about how she can spread kindness through the world like that stone rippling in the water. It's a great book. You should stop in, check it out. Each kindness. We can all learn a lesson from this book.
Oh, it's time for Library Lunacy!
Yahoo!
Well, it's also that time of year to count our blessings again.
Blessings. Well, let's see. I have 10 toes, 10 fingers, 2 ears, 2 eyes, 1 nose, 1 tail, and 1 mouth. But how do I count my blessings when I don't know where to find them on my body?
What? When were you born? Yesterday?
Actually, I was born 7 years ago last Tuesday.
Oh, for crying out loud. I didn't actually mean, when were you born? It is just an expression that means you are a little slow upstairs.
No, I think I'm just as fast upstairs as I am downstairs.
Oh, exactly. That is what I am talking about.
I thought we were talking about counting.
Yes, we were. Counting what we are thankful for.
Well, why don't you say so? I know what I'm thankful for.
What?
I'm thankful I'm not you, 'cause you tire me out with all your talking and big words.
Oh, yeah? Well, I'm thankful I'm not you, because you are a little slow upstairs.
Oh yeah, well let's have a race and see who's the slowest upstairs.
Now, boys, what is all this arguing about? We should all be counting our blessings. Why, it's almost Thanksgiving and all.
Oh no, here we go with that blessing talk again. Would someone please tell me where my blessings are located on my body?
Oh, you silly boy! Blessings are not body parts. They are things we are thankful for.
Oh, like being glad I'm not Mortimer.
No, like being thankful that you have food to eat, or having a home to go to, or having friends like us.
Yeah, or like not having feet that stink like yours, Lulu May.
Oh, for your information, I am very thankful to have my beautiful, fragrant feet. I consider them to be one of my better qualities.
That reminds me of something I recently read.
You can read?
Of course I can. Anyway, did you know that if your feet smell and your nose runs, you're built upside down?
What are you talking about?
Well, I was just thinking that maybe Lulu May is built upside down because we know her feet smell. So, Lulu May, does your nose run?
Of course my nose runs, you fool! Everybody's nose runs now and again. What are you, slow upstairs?
Here we go again. Come on, let's go upstairs. I'll race both of you and we'll see who's the slowest upstairs.
Oh, for heaven's sakes! We are supposed to be talking about our blessings, not feet and races!
What was that?
It sounded like a turkey.
Turkey? Yum! I love turkey. Hey! That's what I'm thankful for! Turkey!
Oh, did I hear someone say that they were thankful for turkeys?
Yes, I did. Especially fresh turkey.
Yeah, me too. I'm thankful for fresh turkey stuffed with cheese.
And served with gravy.
I don't think I like the turn this conversation has taken. I'll be going now.
Go get 'em, boys!
Get back here! You turkeys! Get back here!
I call a drumstick. Hey, y'all! Happy Thanksgiving!
Get back here!
Well, that wraps up another library line. Thank you for joining us, and I hope we showed you a lot of things to be thankful for, which hopefully the Conneaut Public Library is one of those things you're thankful for. And one of the things that I know that I'm thankful for is our beautiful Gallery 304. That's where I am right now. Did you know that the library put a gallery in? We did. It's Gallery 304. When you walk in the door, if you go to the right, it's right across from our reading area, and we have a beautiful display up right now from Dennis Steiner and his photography. And every month this changes. And so for the whole month, we have Dennis's work here, and he has lots of beautiful scenes from all around Ashtabula County, but primarily Conneaut, Ohio. So that's why we really like this display. And you are more than welcome to come in during the times that we're open and take a look at the display. We do have a guest book that you can sign to, which is kind of cool. We can see where everybody's coming from. So if you have family or guests from out of town, wouldn't it be fun to bring them to the library and to show them through Gallery 304? Plus, we have a lot of cool things here in the library. You know, we have seahorses, right? Maybe you didn't hear that one. They're on the other side of us right now. We won't do that today, but of course, you know, you have to come in and see those as well. So stop in. Come and see Gallery 304. If you would like to display in our gallery, all you have to do is stop in the Conneaut Public Library, tell us who you are and what you have, and we will sign you up to display your works for 1 month here in Gallery 304. So, have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and thank you for joining us.